looks like very space agey, little pockets. But I mean, how long until A, you've already popped them all, and B, that you're throwing your buddies into your wall just to hear them like pop?
I tried very hard to get it adopted as my school uniform in high school.
How well did that work?
Well, I originally wanted saran wrap as our school uniform. I thought that would be brilliant. So then people would be like, "Are you naked?" And you'd be like, "No, I'm in the band." Fuck.
Fuck it, why not? Genius.
But then, people thought that might be offensive. So I thought bubble wrap would be a reasonable compromise. But no, I went to school with a bunch of McCarthys.
Never listening to the people speak. Terrible thing.
All right. I got some if you want to rail yours off, or do you want to go pound for pound, or what?
Go for it.
I'll give you one. This is a good
All
one.
right.
You're going to like this. Richard
All right.
Nixon.
Mm.
Little known fact about Richard Nixon. He was an amazing musician.
Really?
Really, really very talented. Played 5 instruments. Impressed the hell out of everybody. He was a great jazz musician.
Oh, shit.
So that's a funny thing. Like the world's
Never
biggest...
would have guessed him being a musician.
Right? And jazz at that. Like the most progressive music ever.
Yeah. Wow. That's really shocking.
That's my
Interesting.
Nixon fact for you.
Just what the world needs is more Nixon facts.
Yeah.
Okay. After World War II ended, cocoa was an extremely rare in Europe.
I knew
and
that.
it was all because it was so rare, it was very expensive. Well, an Italian pastry maker, Pietro Ferrero, wanted to extend his cocoa ration. So he created a paste from hazelnuts mixed in some of his precious cocoa. He formed it into a loaf, and then that could be cut into slices and served on bread. His son, Michael... No, here's the other thing, though. His son, Michael, later on ended up improving the recipe and produced the first jar of Nutella.
Horrible, disgusting, evil shit. And that is why COVID attacked Italy.
See, I saw the Ferrero and I thought, does this mean that he's the guy who did the Ferrero Rochers? Does that mean that Ferrero Rochers were like the original first sort of like the chocolate that survived the war? That'd be amazing to know because it's one of my favorite little chocolates.
They're probably older than that.
I would have to
I'd
assume.
imagine.
Yeah.
Don't Nutella. That's why there was Nazis in Italy. Mussolini loved Nutella.
He loved Nutella. He thought that was the best thing ever.
And I wish that Chef Boyardee had killed you before you had a chance. To invent that horrible, unleash that evil on the world. Hey, speaking of evil Italians, do you know Mussolini and Stalin were both nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize?
Shut the fuck up, really?
So was Hitler. All 3 nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize. None of them won, but they were nominated. That's something.
Yeah. Interesting.
So, that's what you get, Nutella eaters.
If
That
you ever
shit is
wonder or
vile.
worried,
In case I wasn't clear
you
about that.
just don't like it, eh?
No.
I don't mind Nutella. I really don't. It's not bad. I couldn't have it in droves, but I have to admit, I don't mind it. I could go without it. I wouldn't care if it stopped existing, but I know there's an entire nation of Brazil that would probably break down in national war if it ever stopped producing it.
Yeah, that's why they're so progressive there.
Yeah, exactly. If you ever need to just, to live somewhere where it's just not as heavily populated as most places are, well, the Northern Hemisphere holds 90% of the world's population. So all you gotta do is go hit the Southern Hemisphere, and you can be all the fuck alone you want to be.
Absolutely, or just go anywhere in Canada that's not along the border.
Yeah, that would be the other way, probably the easiest.
Then you can stay in the same hemisphere, and like really, no one in Canada gets to complain. Oh, it's overpopulated. What? We're the fourth least populated country in the world.
Yeah. You break everybody up by square mile or square kilometers in this country, and we get quite a bit of land each.
Yeah, it's like one person every 4 kilometers or something absurd.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Most countries in the world aren't that big. That's a bit of an exaggeration, of course.
Just slightly, though.
Some countries are little, though. You know what's not little? The world. And you know what happened on September 6th, 1622? Magellan sailed around it.
Magellan?
Magellan, the very famous explorer, completed the world's first circumnavigation of the globe today.
That's weird that I can't even recognize that name.
He was Spanish.
The first guy he was a Spanish guy?
He got back to Spain on September 6th, 1622. And that was the first time anyone had ever done that. That was today.
So how long did it take him? Sorry, my math is not going to work right now.
75 years. I have no idea.
Either way.
No idea.
That's a long time, and that's impressive.
I'm sure it didn't go fast. Oh, Adam Lippy just texted me asking if we aired the episode yet. No, Adam, we have not. COVID.
Sorry, buddy.
I can't find it. Shh.
Don't tell the listeners.
I'm going to have to make it up, and hopefully he doesn't recognize his own voice.
It's funny.
So, Adam, you have a movie. Yeah, I don't like you. I'll find it. It's somewhere in the world. What else you got, Gord? Anybody else have funny facts? Email us, gwynethpaltrotsvagina@gmail.com or mail@ericandgord.ca. Send us your interesting or funny or curious facts or stuff we didn't know. We'll send you a pen, maybe, someday.
Maybe. Depending on the mail. Well, there's this high-end English jam company called Bompus and Parr is the name. Not Pompous, Bompus, B-O-M-P-A-S, so Bompus and Parr. And they released a really weird line of jams called the Occult Jams. Reason why this is so weird? Well, it's because of the ingredients. Some of the examples, you have one that includes milk jam, which is infused with Princess Diana's hair and absinthe. There's another one with pineapple jam. Yes.
I just want to interrupt because that ties in pretty neat. But today was the day of Princess Diana's funeral, 1997.
So there you go. How about that? That is very interesting. But yeah, there's another one that is it's a pineapple jam that actually has sand from the Great Pyramids, and they have a plum or oak jam with wood from the British warship the Victory, which was Lord Nelson's flagship at the Battle of Trafalgar.
Well, that all sounds horrible.
That really, really does. Like, jam with sand? or jam with just a chunk of wood in it? What the hell is that?
Goes together like gum and nuts.
There you go. So interesting.
Very cool. You mentioned two things right there. You mentioned Egypt, and
yep.
And what was the last one that you mentioned that had something to do with something I had something to do with? Diana, Egypt, and
the Battle of Trafalgar.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. Cleopatra, very, very famous Egyptian queen, was not Egyptian.
Okay, well, many
people don't know that she was Greek.
Really?
She was a descendant of Alexander the Great, and just happened to take over Egypt as their queen.
Wow.
There you go.
That's impressive.
She wasn't even Egyptian. So there's that for you.
I bet you people in the country didn't scream and yell, "Where's her birth certificate?"
They probably did, and then were very quickly killed and fed to lions.
Yeah, that makes probably a lot of sense.
Because that's what people did back then. They just killed you. You know what they didn't do ever in the town of Salem?
What?
They never burned a witch. It's all a lie.
Really?
They hung them. They abused them They abused them in prison very badly and mistreated them and hung them when they were to die. But no one was actually ever burned at the stake in the town of Salem.
Really?
That's just a big fat lie.
Oh. For some reason, I find that somewhat disappointing.
Because you're a sadist?
Maybe. Oh, man. So, random stupid fact for you. You know, on your keyboard, you have the different variations of the spellings that used to be available. The one that stuck was the one that pretty much everybody uses, which is it's called QWERTY, which is the first line of letters, which is QWERTY.
Yeah. Does yours start with a K? That would explain a lot.
I'm going to say no. Just so it's no. But anyways, using that, do you know what the longest word is that can be typed on a single row?
I don't.
It is typewriter. Isn't that strange?
Oh, that's something. You know, when you're setting up, that's neat. That's a neat coincidence. When you're setting up your computer, when you buy a new computer and you're setting it up, you can opt not to use the QWERTY keyboard. It asks you what language you want to use, and you can choose whatever keyboard you like.
Yes. Just QWERTY is just the one that stuck.
In case people don't know that, you always have the option to not use the QWERTY keyboard, and many people don't like it. I
wouldn't even know if there's another alternative because I can barely type properly with this one. So
it's not. Well, you'll notice there's little other symbols on all your keys. Those are alternate keys. Mostly used by programmers, but you can program them to do whatever.
Yeah.
So all those keys can be made to, and same with your F keys. You can program them to do whatever function you want them to. That's why they're your function keys.
I discovered a while ago that when you type in certain words, you can change it to be a symbol.
Yeah.
So if you type the word boat, you can have a picture of a boat to come on. When I first discovered this, I changed a bunch of it. So every time my ex-wife would type in like certain words, like common words I knew she used a lot, which is sis, mom, and love. So I put every time that she would type in sis, it would come up with a picture of a knife. And every time it would come up with mom, it was a picture of a fire and, just random things. And she was getting really frustrated because she couldn't figure out why the computer was doing this. And then I caught her trying to book a time with a computer guy that's going to cost like $100 and something an hour to fix it. And I'm like, no, I'm just fucking with you.
Yeah, those guys are massive con artists too. They're worse than life coaches.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there's nothing complicated about a computer.
No, they're so simple. I can barely spell on one. Oh, man. So you know the blue whale?
I do.
Yes. Wow. If you were to take a guess, how heavy do you think a blue whale's heart is?
22 pounds.
You're very close. It's 1,300.
That's what I said.
Yeah, and the vessels, the chambers that go out from the heart, a human could swim down them.
I was talking metric. You didn't let me finish.
Oh, is that what? Oh, my bad.
Yeah, that's a big fish.
Yeah, so there you go. That is a big, big fish. Oh man. So, if I were to give you a word, see if you do it, which is aviophobia. You know what that is?
Aviophobia?
Aviophobia.
Aviophobia? Fear of aviator glasses?
Again, close. It's the fear of flying. But there's millions of people that are affected by this all over the world, not just here in North America where we just make shit up for ourselves. But it's the fact that what makes it funny is that not only are plane crashes incredibly rare, but they also aren't always fatal. To give an idea,